We're now the Gnyps, I guess. We got married on January 20th, 2013 at Seasons in the Park in Queen Elizabeth Park.
And why did we choose Kathy? Well, I had looked at various kind of wedding vendor sites and the various coordinators, and I liked Kathy's website, all the information that she had on there, and it had a picture of her, so I know what she looked like. And I sent an email to her and she responded very promptly. So it made me feel like she was interested in securing my business and interested in working with me. And I set up a first meeting with her, and she was interested in finding out about what it was that I wanted. She informed me about what services she was able to offer, what her prices were, and I just really liked her comfortable demeanor. And there was no pressure. It was just an information meeting, and she really kind of gave me an idea as far as what services she could offer us, and the pricing, I mean, really worked. We just wanted a day of coordinator to take care of everything for us from start to finish, so we wouldn't have to worry about burdening our friends and family about taking care of all of the little things.
Well, I'll take you back one step. Like, even to our first meeting, she had pads for us essentially, and we actually had notes to take and pens each, and she took one, and her notepad was about 3 times the size of both of ours, just in terms of what was taken down. At the rehearsal, we realized, well, this is a small thing, but there's only one coat rack.
She said she'll take care of it, not to worry about it. She emailed us later that night that she'll source it out, and I had no problems. I never worried about it for the next 2 days until the wedding. And then I realized morning of, when we were there was a second coat rack. So I knew I'd never had a doubt in my mind that Kathy would, not come through. And that was the whole point of having a wedding coordinator, is they would take care of the last minute things like that. So you and I wouldn't have to worry. Our last, kind of day and a half before the wedding, we could just send whatever we needed to her, and she would take care of it.
And it's funny because the reason why we got a wedding coordinator in the first place is because a lot of our friends use family members to coordinate their wedding, and we found that they weren't perfectly honest when they were disappointed. And we even told Kathy later that if she screwed up, we were going to tell her, because we're kind of demanding that way. And really, being that we're that type of people, and for us to not give any negative feedback like that is pretty rare. And we never did. So when we told her that afterwards, the reason why we picked her is because if you use family, you have to see them afterwards, so you usually tend to hide your feelings. So we picked Kathy because, well, we were going to tell her if we needed something done in maybe not the nicest fashion, but again, she knew that was going to be coming, and she prepped for it, so we didn't have to. Yeah.
Kathy worked well with other vendors. I had a cake vendor who dropped the cake off in the morning, and between the two of them, they worked together to try and figure out how to incorporate the cake topper. It wasn't going to work the way that I had originally envisioned it, but between the two of them, they figured out a way, and it was absolutely perfect. So she has great judgment. She can make a decision, and she has spent the time getting to know us, so she kind of knows what we might like. And she worked with it and made it work. So that was kind of nice that I could count on her to kind of make an executive decision.
She did it with the chairs too, because the way the chairs were set up for the ceremony was different than what we had planned, because when we did the rehearsal, there was tables set up that we couldn't move. So when we got there, the venue had already set up the chairs for us in a different fashion than we were expecting. But Kathy came to me right away and said, I think it works better. And she described why, because the lane was bigger and it just made better flow. I was completely on board and never second guessed it.
And it did it.
Yeah,
worked totally,
it was amazing.
Totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course we also had 2 other vendors. We had the photographer, and then the justice of the peace, or the, I guess, minister. She really let our minister really take care of that ceremony while she did everything in the background. She didn't need to be the star. The same time she was.